Hey Kimberly, it's Jim. Hey, I want to make a video for you real quick and just kind of give you some feedback on your site. When I make these, as you may have heard me mention before, I really like to shoot from the hip and just be really genuine with the information that I have or the things that come to mind. And I haven't looked at your site until right now, so you get a really genuine look rather than me having already seen it. So I read your post on Facebook on the group. And, I'm right there with you in terms of wanting to sell a bunch of different things and getting bored, and I totally understand that. The problem is the stores that niche down do the best by far. And that's just true in business. I mean, there's been so many stories of people that offered one service and then, offered many, many more and just got diluted. I mean, and it's also, there's a gazillion reasons that I could talk for an hour about why niching down is important. I mean, another thing is your marketing dollar goes so much further. When you're specifically focused on a certain niche, you can highly target on Facebook and other places to make sure your marketing dollar goes as far as possible. You've probably heard the old saying, if you market to everybody, you market to nobody. And that's definitely true when you have a diluted brand and have just a lot of different products that don't really have cohesiveness or consistency. So that being said, I haven't looked over your whole site and I don't know, what it is that awaits. But another key element is, on your page before the fold, meaning before I have to scroll, this area is absolutely critical. You only have a few seconds to make sure that you articulate on your site what it is that you do, and then allow the visitor to make a decision, is this for me? So what do you do, and is this for me? And if you don't do that immediately, within literally a few seconds, they'll leave. So one way to be able to test yourself to see if you're doing this correctly or not is to look at your bounce rate and see in Google Analytics how quickly people are leaving your page. If they're only on your page for a few seconds, that can definitely be an indicator that you don't have a specific, like you're not capturing that attention and you're not letting them know what you do. And it could also be an indicator of just the wrong traffic. So that goes back to the idea of targeting on Facebook and other places. If you're bringing in just the wrong traffic, then you're going to have a high bounce rate as well. So it's just kind of it's indicative of a problem, and it can certainly be fixed, but that's something that you definitely want to check out. And also look and see if people are checking out multiple pages on your site rather than just leaving after the home page. So as I look at this, there's a couple things that come to mind. First off, and bear with me, Kimberly, I'm going to present a few little details that are little nuanced things that don't need to be done urgently, but it's something to consider as you slowly dot the I's and cross the T's and make improvements to your site. One of those is, and I'm looking at this from a MacBook Pro, and I have a Retina display, which is just a high definition display. And these images here, specifically the wording, is not clear to me. I don't know if this will come through on the video, but it's just not crisp. And anytime it's pixelated like that, it just doesn't look as professional. While I'm in the note, let me show you something real quick. So if you go to my blog, it's blog.groovejar.com. So you can go there, click this first link, how to boost your conversion rate with a killer first impression. This is a deep dive into making a good first impression on your site. And I go through examples of really good sites and then also bad sites as well. And you can see kind of what I'm talking about with high quality images, being clear what is sold and things like that. So take a look at that when you have a moment. I think it'll be helpful for you. Okay. And also, as I'm looking at your page here, it's not immediately obvious to me exactly what you do. I have some idea that you sell women's fashions just by what's coming up here, but it's just not really clear. And the average visitor is frankly lazy, and they're not gonna look around. If it's not easy for them to figure out what it is that you do, they're just gonna move on. So what I would recommend doing is figuring out. So first of all, I love taglines. So it says Swanky Bazaar. Well, what do you do? Like high-end women's clothing or fashion-forward women's clothing, or whatever it is. And I see that you have a whole bunch of things. So figure out what your tagline is. Tell me immediately what it is that you do. And you need to articulate that in writing and in imagery. So rather than having this scrolling box of images, I recommend just having one that specifically embodies what you do. And I really like the idea of, so like this, where it kind of fills the screen. That's a really attractive way to present your site. I'm a big fan of that, along with a copy of what it is that you do. So it's just something to consider. But like I said, this is difficult because you sell so many things. And it's different too. Like I saw that you mentioned that you're on eBay. Well, if you think about it, eBay is different. So if I'm going to buy something on eBay, I'm going to go and search for phone case, right? Captain America phone case. And then based on the sorting mechanism, if your auction is ending soonest, it might come up on the top or sort by price or whatever. But the point is, I'm searching for that specific item. So what works on eBay doesn't necessarily translate to Shopify and what will work well in an e-commerce setting. And I think that's part of what you're seeing is happening here. Kind of a jack of all trades, master of none type thing. And I know, Kimberly, that's probably harsh to hear. I know what you don't want to hear, I'm sure, because I get it. Like, I totally understand that selling one thing would be more boring. But frankly, I think you'd be better off to figure out ways to keep yourself entertained and excited about the business rather than trying to offer such a wide range of items. I've just seen time and time again, people have been so much more successful with a specific niche, and it seems counterintuitive, but it's just true. Okay, so let's check out a specific item. I want to see how your product page looks. Let's just go for, how about these pants? Okay, let me study this for just a second. So, Kimberly, as you go and make improvements on these specific product listing pages, keep in mind that stories sell. There was I've shared this before to somebody, but there was a study or something I read or a little experiment somebody did, and they sold two of the same thing on eBay, and I don't remember what they were, but it wasn't important. One of them they just put out there and basically said like the specifications of it, things like this, right? Just the details like this. And then the other one, they wrote a story. They wrote a compelling story that evoked emotions. In that particular case study, there's like questionable morality going on, and it's like a story about grandpa or whatever. Like they somehow made a story from the item, and it sold for multiple times more money, even though it was the very same item. And the point is, story captivates people. Think about the emotions. Like when someone wears these pants, right? What is the emotion? What are they feeling? Think about yourself when you get a new outfit or something like that. I mean, it depends on, of course, what the product is, but think about the emotions that are conveyed. You're not selling the product, you're selling those emotions, and you've got to get really clear on what those emotional triggers are so you can articulate those in the copy. So study that. Think about what those would be and figure out a way to incorporate those into your copy, and it'll make a big improvement. Another big difference that could be made is having reviews on each item. Obviously, I get that takes time, but as you build up and have reviews, I would recommend having them listed here, just like Amazon does. I mean, think about when you make purchases on Amazon. If something doesn't have really good reviews, I don't buy it. And if it doesn't have any reviews, I don't buy it because I don't want to be the first one to take the chance. And that sucks, but that's just true about how we, as consumers, navigate the market. Okay, let me take a browse around 1 second here. I always recommend that people use a photograph of themselves on their About page. People like to connect with people, not with brands. People buy from people, not from companies. So it's great that you've done that. I would recommend getting a higher quality image, and maybe outdoors, but just a higher quality, brighter image, and smile in it. So, like you're conveying trust and credibility here. So definitely, happy, smiling, do you know what I mean? Like, does that make sense? So you're wanting to convey that trust and credibility, and the image says a lot. You don't look super happy in this picture. So the fact that you have a picture is huge. Most folks don't have that. But definitely consider, what your emotions invoke here and how that can make a difference in the way your brand is represented as well. So yeah, I would definitely suggest doing that. All right, let me read your copy here. I don't have anything else to add. I think that's great other than just changing the photo. I also like the idea of wrapping the text around the photo, meaning that like you'd move the photo over here and then the text would kind of wrap around it over here. So that way you can see text on the screen before the fold. Because right now before the fold, you just see your picture and you have to scroll down to see more. And I almost didn't even see this because it's kind of buried down here. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, let me go back to your homepage and see if there's anything else. But yeah, that's it. I mean, so the thing is, like, if you think about it, until you work on the really big rocks, right, conveying what you do and what you sell, things like that, the really big things, some of these little details are just not as relevant. They're not as necessary. And you'll waste time working on small details and not changing the big rocks of your business. That's something that I've learned the hard way multiple times. So I definitely encourage you to focus on that. All right, Kimberly, let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if I can be of service to you in any way. Take care.